Gary Cardone, the based Cardone, Mr. BTC, and his price prediction for BTC was accurate. If you guys know back when he called for 72K, and lo and behold, he was pretty much right on the dot. Cardone sold his $2.5 million mansion for Bitcoin, all in. Original videos in the description. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, Angry Crypto fam. Let's see what Gary has to say, shall we?
Hey guys, Gary Cardone here. A couple of people have been asking me what I ended up doing with my home down the road. I did sell it. I lowered the price. I think it was pitched at 2.8. Lowered the price, I think 300 grand. Immediately started to get some traction. It sold 10 days later. And the question people are asking me was, what did I do with the $2.5 million that was netted out of the sale after all the commissions, fees, title fees? And I deployed it. And in fact, my buddy asked me, well, did you deploy 10%? I said, no, I deployed all of it. Of course, I deployed it all. That was the strategy. I did not.
Yo, this guy's based. He's like high risk, high reward. And you know what? I got a lot of respect for these guys that go all in, because it's like they don't want to play with like petty money. They're like, if I'm going to make this work, I'm going to make this work. I saw the timestamp there. It said like 3 months ago. So this guy made like a killing 3 months ago. Did he 2x? Did he 3x? Like whatever he did some X, you know?
Not DCA into it. And I know that I talk to you guys a lot about DCA, and I encourage you to DCA. First off, I do continue to DCA every week, no matter what price. But me selling the home, that was a different play, right? I saw the home beginning to suck the resources from my family, and I wanted to get rid of the sucky feeling and deploy it into Bitcoin. I was more concerned about the risk of not being able to deploy that kind of money in the 60s than DCAing into it and maybe getting a $2,000 cheaper price. It just was not that important to me. I have a huge tolerance for risk, and everything I do in my life is pretty well paid for, so I'm not relying on that money. If the in fact, the market did, I think I picked this up at 66 and change.
I got mad respect for this, because he's like, you know what? I'm just going to go with trajectories. I'm going to set this. I'm going to set my targets. I'm going to stick to the strategy. But also, you know, that's the difference between rich and wealthy. A lot of times people get this, like, I mean, Rick Ross talked about it. Like, someone correct me if I'm wrong, like a $250,000 utility bill for one of the mansions that he has, like, yearly. So it's an expensive home, but you don't just buy an expensive home. You got taxes, you got maintenance, you got upkeep, you got all these hidden fees, right? When you buy, when you sell, and maintaining that upkeep is expensive. So, like, I think this is genius what he did. We'll see what he does moving forward, but I think it's genius. It's not for everyone, but he's taken on such a big weight of discipline to afford these high risk appetites.
Market went down to 61 yesterday or the day before. It's now moved right back up. I wish I had 30 homes. I would sell them all. I would buy Bitcoin right here, and I would wait, and I would wait, and I would wait, and I will be proven to be absolutely spot on correct. And I'm probably underestimating the opportunity here. So I continue to look around all my properties, all my assets, my investments in other things, and try to figure out what is a better investment. What I'm doing there, or does Bitcoin or some other part of the Bitcoin industry offer me greater opportunities? I would encourage you to look at it the same way. Fiat is crumbling, okay? It's degrading.
He's right. Fiat is crumbling. It is the most liquid, but we need to be risk averse. Like, sometimes taking no risk is risky, you know? And Dave Ramsey may huff and haw at stuff like this, but it's clearly working. It's clearly working. Now, we need to be careful to not refinance our own home and start following what Cardone is doing. Like, he affords to be able to do that. Like, that if everything went to zero, he's okay. But man, oh man, this guy's a Chad. Mad respect.
Rating by the moment. So the question is, hey, what are the pros on Bitcoin that real estate doesn't enjoy? Because real estate does enjoy some characteristics currently that Bitcoin doesn't enjoy. But the cool thing I like about Bitcoin is it requires no maintenance. The roof never leaks. There's never a plumbing problem. There's no electricity problems. There's no annual tax that if I don't pay it, I don't really own the home. If I own Bitcoin and I'm holding Bitcoin, there's no one that can tax me if I'm holding my Bitcoin and I'm not liquidating it. I have no human error risk. I have no insurance requirements. I have no flood insurance requirements. I have no rain or hazard insurance requirements. I mean, what isn't great about Bitcoin? Quite frankly, it's a low maintenance, requires some security understanding, some responsibility. It requires an understanding of a fiat world that's decaying by the moment.
Yo, this guy is like a Dana White Chad, right? Now, obviously, I don't want to equate the two, but it's like you got boomers who are actually like, that's why I got mad respect for the boomers like this who are ahead of the game, not Dave Ramsey. You know, maybe he could take he could learn a thing or two from Mr. Gary. And there's a lot of guys I see in the space, both Gen Z and boomers, that are like ahead of the curve. So age is not everything. So guys, always listen to the words that they do say, not how it's packaged. And notice Gary is not insulting the intelligence of users. He's clearly differentiating between the two. A bunch of hidden costs that probably you and I both did not know of. Plumbing, maintenance, roof, paying your annual tax, whether you sell or you don't sell, right? But Bitcoin, like that little bit of responsibility, but it's so autonomous and flexible and not encumbersome, right? If you get a home, it's kind of a ball and a chain. Yes, it could be a speculative investment, but it's going to come with a lot of caveats and cons, and it can be lucrative of a sale, but that's if the demand is there, right? And there's also real estate cycles. There's going to be a video one day where I talk about real estate cycles and whatnot. So it's not just so clear. And plus, we know how Bitcoin, how liquid it is, right? You can just boom, market sell, market buy. Try that with the home. I mean, he had to bring it down 300K, albeit he got an offer 10 days later, but still, right? Still, it's there's so many benefits, and we haven't even talked about utility. So Dave Ramsey, L, Gary Cardone, massive W.
Other than that, it looks to me like the greatest opportunity in the history of mankind, and over the last 15 years, it has proven to be exactly that. So I'm not going to bet against a 15-year trend. You know, in markets, they say the trend is your friend until it's not. Well, this trend continues to roll up, to the right, and continuing. So I'm going to play that trade until it doesn't work. It seems like we are 10 years into owning NVIDIA. It's like us buying NVIDIA 15 years ago, one of the great super stocks of the 21st century.
I mean, NVIDIA is really high right now. It's at 2.4 trillion, and they got amazing products. I mean, I love my 4060 mobile. I love what they're doing with AI. It's giving me a lot of value as a creator, but I err on the side of caution. I think the top might actually be like 150K at best, but I don't know. Am I being too conservative, guys?
15 years ago, one of the great super stocks of the 21st century. I think Bitcoin will outperform NVIDIA, the S&P, gold, silver, US dollars, crude oil, aluminum, copper, real estate. It's going to just run over every one of these returns. And when the world wakes up, and a very, very small percentage of the world is awake to this opportunity, when the world wakes up, everyone is going to own Bitcoin. Hey, you guys are probably wondering why I'm on the road, but I just sold this house and I'm scared to trespass. Plus, these are really nice neighbors, and I don't want to offend anybody. So I'm trying to, you know, hold my little manners that my mom taught me in check. This house was costing me around, call it about $8,000 a month in mortgage, utilities, maintenance, upkeep, $600 a month just to mow the grass.
That's crazy. That's a salary. What the hell? That's insane, man. That's insane. That's crazy.
That's probably a $500 electric bill, insurance, $8 grand a year. So I sat on this property for 3 years, okay? I bought it for around 1.8. I put 600 grand in it. I am basically gonna make zero on this house in 2.5 years. I then took these funds after the commissions, so about 2.25 million, and I bought Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin for you guys that are, you know, oh, Gary bought it at 30 and he's shilling Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin at 66,818. I bought $2.25 million worth of it. Okay, that was 3 weeks ago. It's worth 70 grand today. Okay, and we'll see what it's worth in a year. But my bet is it's worth in 1 to 2 years, 3 years, a heck of a lot more than the return I got, which was 0 after I factored in commissions, utility fees, taxes. Taxes aren't even included.
That's the thing, guys. Like, these boomers just, oh, real estate, I got pre-con. You're waiting, your capital's pulled in. There's scams all day, all long with pre-cons too, of bad builders, right? Fraud, tax. If you don't live in it for more than a year, like at least a year, tax on that, right? There's all these different stipulations. So this idea that it's just like real estate price go up, I make money, is a little misleading. It's disingenuous. So I'm very glad that Gary Cardone is kind of putting this to rest and clarifying that, like, yeah, the price went up, but it's not telling the full story. And I love this, man. I love this guy, man. He's so refreshing versus Grant.
Commissions, utility fees, taxes. Taxes aren't even included in that, okay? Insurance, maintenance, improvements. That fence wasn't here. I put the fence in. That's 60 grand. So let's see what this trade's like. Homes are not investments. Rent your home, okay? Rent your home. Buy an apartment building and rent it to a guy like me. I'll rent from you. Got no shame about it.
This is a smart advice, honestly, because I feel like as we approach like the peaks and peaks, inevitably we're gonna have a home correction, like a 2008 moment, and you don't want to be left with your D out with like mortgage defaults, liquidity crisis, and now this massive refinance, home. You cannot afford to even pay it. Now you're left with massive debt, renters, crises. It's kind of smart for a lot of these guys, like entrepreneurs and whatnot, to focus on renting and mobility and like, you know, tax mitigation, LLC, all these different things. It's like the days of just buy a home and sit on it. It's not like that. It's not, you know. In the 1980s, my coworker, who I worked with him like a few years ago, and he told me in the 1980s he bought a home for like 20 bands, $20,000 Canadian dollars, while being paid $20 an hour, while getting overtime. So he basically bought a home with a year's salary. Today, you need to spend 27 years as a Canadian to save up for a mortgage in Toronto, for like a Torontonian home, where the rates are absurd. A home like this in Toronto would be maybe like 20 million or 10 plus million. It would be huge. This is the price for something like a shack in such a city, right? So this is all facts that he's saying, man. Now, the timeline, I don't think BTC is going to go ultra mega bullish, like in the 250,500,000. And I also think that Q3, Q4 of this year / Q1 2025, I don't think like 2-3 plus years, but I could be wrong.
Not renting whatsoever. Needs to be a really big place, but I'm happy to rent. And then I'll use my money, okay, this fiat stuff that's just degrading in value by the moment, and I will invest it in Bitcoin. So we sell fiat to the system. We use that fiat to buy Bitcoin. Okay, we rent fiat assets and we buy hard money assets that will only increase in value. Why? Because you can't print it. You can't print Bitcoin, you can't copy it, you can't duplicate it, and you can't speed it up. I'm very convinced.
Exactly. Maybe if Ramsey took his head out of his ass, he would realize that there's appreciating assets. I mean, Ramsey even shits on gold. How? I don't know, because gold has been valuable since the dawn of time. This guy gets it.
And if you think I'm wrong, I'd love to have a debate why $2.25 million investment in Bitcoin is far better than a passive investment in a single dwelling home that I'm either going to live in or I'm going to rent. Okay, it's too much exposure. I can't control taxes. I cannot control how many COVID-19s we end up with and can't even get somebody here to fix anything. So Bitcoin looks to me like a non-human era investment opportunity, hardest money on the planet.
This guy is so based, man. This guy's so based. This is such a great video. Do share this. Like, guys, this is such a good video by Gary. I love it. Love it. He tackles so many unique, fresh. It's so fresh to get that real estate insight, but realizing the prowess and the benefits and the utility of crypto, I think it's nice to see those two come together. What do you guys think on his predictions that it's going to go like crazy and outperform Nvidia, and almost that comparison of saying like it's Nvidia in the tens of dollars? Do you think that's like ultra giga bullish, way too high? What is your price prediction for Bitcoin? I think he brought up a lot of good points about maintenance and risk, and that it's not as simple. It's not black and white. So lovely video. Hit that subscribe, hit that like. I'll see you guys in the next Angry Crypto Show.